40. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
He's heading into the driveway. Temperature's dropping fast, folks. He opens the hood and, oh no, the battery's on thin ice.
Yeah, that's a tough break, Tim. I mean, you can't expect to compete and win with weak parts in your game like that.
But wait, he's made a clutch move. He's gone to Napa Auto Parts for the win. They've got batteries, winter-grade oils, antifreeze, and wiper blades built for cold Alberta conditions.
That's a championship play, Tim.
With over 85 Alberta locations, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers need to keep their powder dry. None of these 4-year deals for 29-year-olds. Hoodie gets snubbed by the football hall. I think it's because the Patriots cheated in Super Bowl 39, and I'm here for it. Giannis exit this week, and Toronto Maple Leafs are free falling, as the great Tom Petty said. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family-owned, community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440, online at iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca, Radio Player Canada. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweeted out on X. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at JFenwick04. You can text or call anytime, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Our guest today, our feature guest, will be Kevin McCurdy. We'll have rumors for you, lots of talk about the Edmonton Oilers and a possible acquisition from the Maple Leafs, and maybe a 4-year deal for Jack Roslovic. There's lots happening in Oilers Nation, and we'll have it for you. And, of course, we'll cover so much more in regard to Hoodie, Giannis, and the Maple Leafs. Time for the introductions. He believes Belichick missed out on the Hall of Fame because of his pissy attitude towards media. He's sensitive that way. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
What an all-time snub.
I loved it.
The definition of a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Cheat on the Eagles, you don't get in.
Oh, well.
He believes Belichick missed out on the Hall of Fame because of fashion. At least wear a colorful hoodie, he says. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Belichick. This is Declan, by the way. And the reason I'm saying that is because after our show yesterday, someone texted into Gregor's show and he said, you know, Gregor, Declan was really talking about Louis' kid and Noah. You should ask him about it. And I texted him back and I was like, hey, man, wasn't me. And he was like, well, it was Connor then. I was like, nope, Connor's not on the Lowdown. And he was like, well, it was you. And I was like, no, there are 4 voices on the show. So I'm not going to sit here and have things that, you know, are said by other people texted into my boss as a gotcha. So from now on, this is Declan. That's how I will be addressing the microphone.
Okay, I got to confess something. I called Jason Gregor last night and told him that you were dissing Noah Gregor. So he might have heard that by 2 people.
Well, another thing is, like, I obviously stay off the text line, like, during Gregor's show. Like, duh.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, sitting there, I'm working, like, doing something else. Like, I know Josh, you know, you don't exactly have time to just run the text line while you're over there. But this was, like, opening segment. I was going back and forth with this guy. I was telling him how dangerous his misinformation was. Well, so, I wanted to clear that up. This is Declan still, by the way.
It is not, like, fair. That was
no, I was really, really, really pissed. I was honestly seething.
It's funny because Donovan said it, and I said, you know, Louis might be driving around, and then we were talking about Noah Gregor, and we talked about how fast he was. And then he said, I called him a traitor when he signed with, who did he sign with that he was upset about?
Florida. And that's
Florida,
the other
yeah.
thing. He texted back with his initials. And Donovan, this is actually something that really bugs me about Donovan. Donovan's the only one on the station who, when he texts back, he doesn't sign his name. This time he actually did. And they still said it was me. And then after I said, no, it wasn't me, they said it was Connor. I said, no, it wasn't Connor. He said, okay, well then it was you. So I was a little fired up about that. This has all been Declan, by the way.
Okay.
They know 4 people work on the show on Tuesdays, right? Sorry. This was
okay.
Josh.
It's okay. Look,
Good call, Josh.
You're allowed to name your name when you're about to say things if people are going to misrepresent you. I think that's very fair. Aaron says, LT, do you coif your eyebrows? The camera seems to be sharper than normal today, and I can't really help but notice you don't seem to have the typical old guy wild eyebrows. Whatever you're doing, keep up the good work. I married Karen, and she's aware of these sorts of things. So she has done some eyebrow work for me. And thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. Welcome back, Sassy Declan. Shouldn't that be Sassy Josh?
Declan here just confirming that Sassy Declan is fine.
I do understand that, though, and it is irritating when people misrepresent what you said, or even worse. This used to happen with Iwanek and Yaremchuk because they had young-sounding similar voices at one time. One of them has matured, and then Iwanek is still in the business. But I feel like when you are misrepresented, it's okay to blurt out, I was misrepresented. That's not fair, man.
And like the thing is, if it's just a bad take or whatever, you live like that's whatever, you live with it. But if someone's texting in being like, hey, boss of this guy, check out what he said, that's where I'm a little bit like, okay, I think I gotta say it wasn't me.
But Krueger was cool about it. I'm sure
I don't know.
give a rat's
I
behind
got so deep into the conversation, I don't even know if Krueger saw the initial message.
You didn't even know if the show was on the air. You were totally into it.
I was spinning.
Kevin McCurdy coming up at 1 o'clock. We're going to talk about, I wrote about the Athletic today. I basically, the Edmonton Oilers are going to have to be very vicious with contracts now, and that includes getting rid of the no movement clauses and not signing any others unless the player is playing a feature role. That's the top line, the second line, the top 2 pairings, starting goaltender or third line center. But if you're getting Trent Frederick, don't sign him to 8 years. And even Jack Roslovic, there's a rumor that his 4-year contract is coming soon. That's a mistake because he probably is going to play a lot on the third line, and you already have a guy that you just acquired a couple of summers ago in Matt Savoy, who should be able to fill that role and do it less expensively. So if it's 4 times 4 for Jack Roslovic, that's not a good deal because you're blocking one of the players that you acquired. And I don't see the logic in it. And you want to save that money and those no movement clauses for when you have to replace Zach Hyman if he gets old. And that will happen. We know that from history. The move for the Edmonton Oilers, if they need to add somebody on the right wing or anything like that, is to get a Vasily Podkolzin. They are out there. And if you bring in another Vasily Podkolzin and you play him with Leon Draisaitl, sure as hell, that player is going to look better. Well, let's have to be smart about this. Signing veteran guys who are close to 30, long-term, look at their history. It is an absolute hornet's nest. You think Declan's upset right now about that guy who texted yesterday? Wait until you see me when they sign another 29-year-old player to a long-term contract. Because here's the deal. The Edmonton Oilers signed Connor McDavid, but they're not that far from the last, chance, Texaco. You need to win in the next 3 years. Signing 29-year-old guys who have a cliff coming, we just don't know when it is a bad, idea. Wow. Punctuation really took a powder on that one. Keep your powder dry, Edmonton Oilers. Hoodie doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame. I think it's because they cheated against the Eagles in Super Bowl 39. And I am here for every one of those cats who didn't vote for Belichick in his first time in the Hall of Fame. I understand his qualifications. I'm not arguing his qualifications. But you got to play within the rules, and there was more than that. I'm just picking on the thing that made me mad. More than that, during the Patriots era, I'm okay with him not being on the Hall of Fame first time. He'll go in the second time. Nobody will forget this. And I'm good for it because the next coach who's brilliant and great and needs apparently another edge to win a Super Bowl by 3 points, maybe they'll think twice about it. Gentlemen, do you have any comments on Belichick?
This is Declan here. Josh, do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, all right, Josh here. This is literally the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This is a guy who I said it to you right off the top, is the definition of a first ballot Hall of Famer. Honestly, him winning a playoff game with the Browns should have been good enough to get him into the Football Hall of Fame, but it didn't. And it sounds like Bill Polian, who general manager for the Bills and Colts during the Belichick era, sort of put his thumb on the scale and was like trying to get people to not vote for him because he has to pay for his penance of Spygate and Deflategate. And like,
amen. I'm all with that. I'm fine with it.
I see where you're coming from, but also it totally diminishes the validity of the Hall of Fame in sports.
Don't care. Here's the thing. Pete Rose cheated on the one thing you're not supposed to cheat on. You put him in the Hall of Fame, that reduces the Hall of Fame. Bill Belichick cheated in the Super Bowl, and not just the Super Bowl. And here's the thing. He got away with it. He still has his Super Bowl rings. Keep your Super Bowl rings. Wait 1 calendar year to go into the Hall of Fame. I'm fine with this. Now we introduce Declan Krueger, whose name has been mentioned about 50 times already. Declan Krueger will now comment on the Belichick situation.
It's going to be like one of those things where you like say a word so many times it just starts sounding weird. Like Declan's already kind of an unusual name. It's like when you say spoon 100 times over and you're like, what does it all mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So as far as I think we can all agree that this is really a formality because he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. And then the question was kind of brought up between Struddy and Jason yesterday on Jason's show. Like, do people really remember who was first ballot, who was second ballot, or is it all just who's a Hall of Famer? I actually do think people remember who was a first ballot. Like, I think, being a Hall of Famer is obviously the pinnacle of achievement for what you do in your sport. But being a first ballot Hall of Famer, it's kind of an extra oomph to what you already did. So I do think it means something. I do think there's something to be said for that. Now, as far as penance for what Bill Belichick did, I can totally understand it. The one, I guess, kind of like pause I would give you is kind of back to my first point. Like, yes, do I think this penance is deserved for the cheating and for the scandals? Probably. Is it really going to matter at all when he is, in fact, in the Hall of Fame? Because he is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe it doesn't. And that's, I guess, the only thing that I would kind of also bring up, but I understand why they did it. The last point I would say is that Bill Polian, being the guy who spearheaded this as the Bills GM, as the Colts GM, that feels a little bit like there's some vested interest in there because he was terrorized by Bill for decades and decades. But I digress. I think that's my take on this.
Yeah, I think that there are times when somebody isn't given proper Hall of Fame accolades that it's right to speak out. Hank Aaron was not a unanimous selection to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was elected in 1982. He got 97.83 of the vote, 406 out of 415 ballots.
Ichiro too, right? He wasn't. Yeah. Can I ask you this as a baseball fan?
Sure.
Do you take the Baseball Hall of Fame seriously?
Very seriously. Okay. It's the most serious of all.
No. Sorry, I know it's the toughest to get into, but I mean, knowing that Barry Bonds, who, yes, he did cheat, so did a lot of guys, as like the goat of the sport not being in there, do you kind of now bristle at the Hall of Fame because of that?
No. What I bristle at is that Bud Selig's in the Hall of Fame. If you want to keep Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame because what he did, that's fine. But when you put Bud Selig in, who profited from and knew about those things, then I think that is a double standard that is a bridge too far. But Aaron, going back to Aaron, he was not unanimous. The only reason I can think of is because of race. And I think that in the case of Hoodie, Bill Belichick, I think this is something that was building over time. And, you can say, well, who knows whether it mattered or not? Well, here's an idea. If he didn't do it, if the Patriots didn't cheat, then there would be nothing to talk about. So it is a small price, 1 calendar year. I think he should go fishing with his grandchild, but he wants to coach. That's fine.
You can't call his girlfriend his grandchild. That's a little in poor taste.
No, but he has a grandchild.
That was Josh, by the way.
He had a grandchild. He has a grandchild, right? That he goes fishing with. I saw it on a TV show. So I think he should do that more often, but he wants to coach, and that's fine. But in this one particular area of the world where, there are consequences to actions, Hall of Fame, I just don't object to it. In fact, I congratulate the NFL Football Hall of Fame. And I'm never going to say that they are as precise as baseball Hall of Fame, but this is a feather in their cap. I thought they did well. Now, very quickly, anything on Giannis? Apparently, there's a little more push maybe for him to get dealt by the deadline. Are you hearing anything? Are you interested in anything you've heard?
Declan here. Josh, you want to start this one?
No, you go first this time.
So I had read this morning, one of the first things I read when I woke up, there was possible talks of him in a trade package for Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga.
And now he's hurt.
Well, you can trade Jimmy while he's hurt anyway. Like the Bucks would really take that kind of just keep Jimmy on the books for a year, get some picks with it, get Kuminga's young player. Another one I had read that was like a fake tweet, but is so apropos for the Heat, is that the Heat will be in and it'll be the 11th hour, but they don't want to trade Jaime Jaquez, and they miss out on Giannis because of it. And that's a very realistic situation I could see happening for the Heat. I don't know where Giannis ends up. Wherever he goes, it'll be a king's ransom. There are a lot of good landing spots, and there are a lot of teams that can offer a lot to the Bucks to start their rebuild.
And would you like to see him in Toronto?
That's a Josh question. I don't.
That is a Josh question. I would like to see him in Toronto. They are in need of rebounding so badly, which I know Giannis does more than just rebound, but like they need a big guy like that. That being said, they're really high up in defensive rating and all these things with not really having a guy taller than 6'9" since the mid of December.
Dude, the Raptors team makeup is the funniest makeup ever. They have one center, one guard, 13 wings.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe they just like wings. They're very
and they're going to cook your
team
favorite
makeup
team's
ever.
ass. They're going to put them in a blender.
Buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Hot wings. Lots of good ways to have wings.
Yeah, I jumped on the old ESPN trade machine today with a couple of teams that I thought maybe he could go to, trying to work out all the money and things like that. I think the Spurs, just like in NBA circles, are like considered the leading favorite. They have to wait until February 3rd, essentially, before they can really make it work, because they're going to have to send a De'Aaron Fox away to really make that money happen, and he is trade ineligible until February 3rd.
Oh, interesting. So maybe they wait anyway just to see what the offer is.
They might wait, but they might also have a handshake deal, wink wink nudge nudge. Hey, how about we get this done on February 3rd? Trade deadline's on the 5th this year, I believe. So it can happen, and they'll be like, yeah, we'll give you De'Aaron Fox, but we have to send in the paperwork on the 3rd right after he's done. But
do you know that anybody my age or older would regard February 3rd as the day the music died, made famous by Don McLean in American Pie?
I'm very familiar with that 8.5-minute song.
And you know about Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens dying in a plane crash on that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. We didn't get to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really want to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we will do that as the day rolls along. Kevin McCurdy is going to join us at 1 o'clock. I'm going to ask him about the wisdom of signing Jack Roslovic, who's having a birthday, will turn 29. I think that Stan Bowman's done a lot of good work. I love the AHL kids that he's signed. Josh Szymanski's like the third Condor who's come up here, although Howard started the year there. He's also played back and forth. Then there's also Quinn Hudson. I think the trades for guys like Bud Colson and Emerson and Stashny and others have really worked out. The Kasperi Kapanen waiver pickup, brilliant move by Stan Bowman. But there is this constant annual signing of players who are not high skill enough to play on the top two lines or third line center. And then they're signed in the summertime to a long-term, no-movement deal like we saw with Trent Frederick. And I'm a Trent Frederick fan. When they signed him, I was happy. And I think that he will deliver during that 8-year contract. But here's the point. I can like him all I want because I'm a Bruins fan and I watched him his whole career. Stan Bowman doesn't have that leeway. He owes it to the fans. He owes it to the organization. He owes it to the owner to not sign contracts that are going to look terrible after they're signed. And third line guys signed to 8-year contracts is the definition of a bad contract the day it's signed. And I love Trent Frederick. All right. 12:18, we'll take a break. Rumors straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Get ready for an action-packed experience at Rogers Place. The Edmonton Oil Kings are the first choice for family entertainment.
Every home game starts at $20 a seat with extra concession value thanks to Calmont. Kids food combos start at just $7.50.
Sink your teeth into options like hot dogs, popcorn, grilled cheese, pizza, burgers, and more. All Calmont Kids food combos are $10 or less.
Edmonton Oil Kings Hockey. The value is king size.
Don't wait. Great seats start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vinny and Donnan have to offer. Visit vinnyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing.
Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interest of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
Ever had a problem returning auto parts? At Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock, we do things differently. Hi, it's Lisa, and we're proud to offer one of the best return policies in the business. When you shop with us, you buy with confidence, knowing that if it doesn't fit or if it's not the right part, we'll make it right. For nearly 50 years, Ed's Auto Salvage has helped Alberta drivers save money, stay on the roads, and shop stress-free. Trust the team that stands behind every part we sell. Visit us at edsautosalvage.com.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at What's Your...
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown, segment 2. I forgot that we've already done 15 minutes. Okay, it happens. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. I'm Declan Krueger. It's time for Rumors, presented by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar, helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. I could be an effective tool for Lowetide. I make a mash of something and I say, I'm Josh Fenwick. Yeah, kind of like that. Noah Philp has been placed on waivers by the Carolina Hurricanes. They do this all the time. They acquire a player, and then they try him out for size, and then they put him back on waivers. And they've done it a couple of times for the Oilers, famously once to a goaltender, which the Hurricanes claim goalies like, honest to God, they like Carter has liver pills. They're doing it all the time. So now the question comes, do the Oilers reclaim Noah Philp? My answer is no, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that Curtis Lazar is a very similar player, and Lazar has played well. I like Philp a lot. But when he was here, one of the questions and the complaints that was mentioned about him was that he wasn't physical enough. So maybe you claim him and you put him back in the lineup. I'm a Philp fan. I hope he does well wherever he lands in the National Hockey League. But for the Oilers this year, I think I'd probably pass on the opportunity, and perhaps he'll go to the Charlotte Checkers and show up with Carolina later in the year, or he'll be claimed tomorrow on waivers. Any thoughts on that? Either Declan Krueger or Josh Fenwick?
I don't really see a spot for him. So,
I think that's fair.
I don't know. Like, I just like, how much am I?
Oh, Curtis Lazar's got the job.
Yeah, like how much am I going to sit here and talk about Noah Philp, right?
No.
Like a lot of people were really high on him because he was kind of like this unknown, you thought of as being a young prospect, but the reality is he was a little bit older, like he didn't quite have it. The spot is Curtis's, like you said, so it's just kind of what more is there to say?
Well, there's lots of reasons to cheer for him, but this is hockey and it's a cruel business. And, I think that Lazar has the job, and they're probably going to recall like Quinn Hudson when they trade Mangiapane. So they've got guys in the minors that they like for the next man up kind of thing. Detroit Red Wings have signed Ben Sherratt to a 3-year extension. This is a day where we needed Donovan here, because he does not like the Detroit Red Wings defense a lot. A lot. He likes the Detroit Red Wings defense like Declan likes the Buffalo Bills playoff record in recent years. Not much. So we'll have to wait for Tuesday for that. Flyers have activated Daniel of Vladar. I recommended the Oilers sign Vladar many times when he was in Calgary. They never did. Or trade for him. And I like him there. I like him in Philadelphia. Philadelphia often has goaltenders who do really well. Part of it is, I think, is their, the style of play they have. They're such a brutally physical team. Have been forever. They're kind of like the Bruins. They'd be south of Massachusetts, right? Philadelphia is south of Massachusetts.
Yeah, it is, but it's mostly west.
Southwest of.
It's like barely south.
Okay, so it's west of Boston. Okay. So Boston's on the ocean?
Yeah, Massachusetts there. I don't know if Boston is.
Back Bay is like where they did the duck boats whenever.
Yeah, Boston is as well. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I just, inquiring minds. Atlanta Braves are interested in Lucas Giolito, Chris Bassett. There's a lot of free agent pitchers out there. Teams that have waited a long, long time have done themselves good in terms of, I think, how much it's going to cost them. Because there are really good arms out there. Bassett, he pitched well last year. I think you could have him in a starting role or a middle relief role and then move him into a starter if you needed to. Trying to get an idea about what the NBA big monster teams are going to do at the deadline. We talked about Giannis. Anybody else that is noteworthy that might be in play who could be a game changer when the playoffs begin?
I don't know about noteworthy as a game changer. There will be some names that come up, like Trae Young, I guess theoretically was one of those names, but he doesn't really impact winning basketball. Dalton Knecht today requested a trade from the Lakers, I saw. Now, he is not one of those big name impact players, but it is funny. Like, he was just drafted by the team, basically just drafted. He was the first round pick the year they got Bronny as well. He was supposed to be part of a trade package for Marvin Williams that didn't work out. And he hasn't really loved his time there. So he's not a big name player like that, but it's an interesting one to keep your eye on.
What about Karl Anthony Towns? He fouled out against Philly the other night, and then last night, I think it was last night, they just kept him out of the last 7 minutes of the game in a win.
Josh here.
Good call, Josh.
Are we going to do this for 2 bleeding hours, boys?
We're going to do this
might
every
have to.
day.
Oh, good. Because it's not getting old at all.
No, I think Karl Anthony Towns is on the trade block. I think his name gets shopped around all the time and lots of rumors. So I think when you see enough rumors like that, we see it in the NHL also, it's like there's got to be some source of validity to it. So I think he'll be shopped around as the Knicks maybe try to find a better defensive center.
They need Isaiah Hartenstein back. What they need.
Well, here you go. Maybe they make the trade. They're so good defensively in OKC that, maybe you can give up Isaiah Hartenstein and be okay.
OKC can't trade for anybody really good, right? Like, that's
sure
not
they can.
fair.
They can do anything they want.
Well, it's not fair.
Yeah, the Dodgers can sign whoever they want, so I think the Thunder can trade for whoever they want.
The worst part is they're in like the best position to do it too.
Oh, yeah.
They have so much to offer.
Oh, trust me.
What
I put
about
them
the
in that
Heat?
trade
Shouldn't
machine.
we be talking about the Heat now?
The Heat have Jaime Jaquez Jr. and like Andrew Wiggins,
Nikola Jovic,
and Tyler Hero as like big pieces people would want.
Maybe Pele Larson. It's not great.
They're not in a great spot. They could really use a guy like Giannis, but they're not going to be willing to part with Jaime Jaquez Jr. So that's just the way it is.
This is, I think, a big story. Maybe I'm wrong. Not like I know everything. I mean, I pretend that I do, but Browns DC Jim Schwartz wants out. The 49ers among potential suitors. It seems to me that they've got like 11 good people in Cleveland, and one of them wants to go. That can't be good for the Browns.
That would be what we in the business call an astute observation, Al.
There you go.
Josh here.
When the text line starts turning on you, I'm going to turn on both of you.
You already turned on us, though.
No, but
you don't believe in this idea.
That was no. I was fine, and I understand it. I get it. But we're 30 minutes in.
The text line has turned on me. I'm a Flames fan who works in Oilers media. It's sort of or in Edmonton media.
Well, you. I admit you have some disadvantages off the hop. That's true.
It's true.
And people love Declan because of his, I mean, he's a perky guy and he's got the good looks. I mean, there's a lot going on. You don't even have a camera on you.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Why don't you have a camera on you?
We just don't. And I'm also in a followers race with our new intern now too on Twitter. Connor put up a whole thing. Who can get to 100 first?
And where is she?
She had 74 and I have 76.
Okay. Look, what's your Twitter account?
J Fenwick 04. Guys, go follow. I'd really like to beat the intern. If
look,
not, it's okay.
She's a very nice person and going to be a fantastic broadcaster, but she's not even really in the industry yet. And if Josh were to lose, that would be terrible. And don't you dare unfollow Josh. That would be unfair.
Do whatever you want. That's okay. But I'd really like to get out of this rut that I've been in. Since I started working here, I've been stuck in that 67 to 74 range.
Every other person who's worked on this show, and it's my fault. I always say follow them, and I make a big deal about it, and then I check on it a day later, and I haven't done that for you. So maybe
that's okay. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Eventually, it will happen, but today is not that day.
Well,
unless it is, guys. J Fenwick 04.
Have you got more followers since we started talking?
No.
Hopeless cause. Nothing we can do. We tried. Well, we'll move on. Boys, just let the listeners figure it out. I'm pretty sure the regular listeners can tell. Yeah, but in fairness to Declan, all of us have, an idea about fair play. And if you're texting into Krueger and, tattling, I mean, first of all, tattling on somebody is like don't you think maybe you young people think it's a great idea to tattle on people, but I think it's dumb. Why would you tattle on somebody? If you got a problem with somebody, you walk over to them and say, Lars, I got a problem with you. And it's not just that your name is Lars. Like that.
Yeah, I think it's good to hold people accountable. Tattling's pretty harsh. I don't know.
I don't like it. I don't like when somebody texts in and tells Krueger something you didn't do, but says it was you. There's a lot about that I don't like. And I'm sure the individual who texted it in is going to text us or Krueger again today. But
he has. No, he's been texting. I've been texting back and forth with him. He's been very apologetic. I told him,
okay.
I've overreacted to it, turned into a bit of a bit here.
Then I've overreacted to it, and I apologize. This is Lowetide talking.
Good show, Lowetide. Good show.
Roland says, go intern, LOL. See, this is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid people are going to stop following Josh and then follow the intern.
But again, that's okay. That's funny.
What is her
Mac McClellan? If you just go to Connor's Twitter, he has a tweet up. It might even be pinned right now. But also shout out to Ryder from who's working at Oilers Nation right now doing the sauce. He followed me back, so I feel
good.
I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Okay,
feeling pretty good.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to do this now. I am now following Mac, so they're up to 76 followers, maybe. I'm just checking now. Where are you? How many followers do you have?
I'm at 85 now since we started this conversation.
Well, she's still I followed her and she's still at 75.
Wait, so you got 9 followers?
Yeah.
Usually it works when I ask people to follow people, they do.
In the span of a minute, I've gotten 9 Twitter followers.
Lowetide, Declan here. When we did the draft show back at TSN 1260 and you told people to follow me, that's what pushed me over 1,000 followers.
Yeah. You saved my life that night. We had computer problems. I had it all written out like you would. I do know stuff about the draft, honest to God. But on a night like that, you've got the draft to follow, you've got your notes to follow, and all my notes went away. And Declan Bleeding Krueger delivered for your boy Lowetide. So I've always been loyal to him. Well, mostly, I talk a lot.
You've been great to me. You've been great
because of that, I mean, I'd drive over you in the parking lot. Although Josh is going to get me.
I'm going to get you one day. Are we doing a draft show this year?
We haven't done them for the last little while.
We did a free agency show this year. Why not do a draft show?
Because the Oilers don't have a first round pick.
And this is a sports station.
Look, if you want to do a
station.
Calgary.
No. Hey. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we are a sports state. We did the free agent show.
Notice how aggressive you are compared to when you started. I started saying if you wanted to. No. Hey. What's going on here?
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's one of the things I get in the argument with people the most on the YouTube chat is when they say, stop talking about the CFL. That was a big one. And I was like, guys, it's called Sports 1440, not Oilers 1440.
I just love your change in persona. At the beginning, you were quiet and you were respectful. Now it's hey. And another year from now, it'll be, how am I funny to you? I'm funny to you, huh?
Funny how? I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh.
It's funny how when you get comfortable with people, how the relationship sends itself in a different direction, and it's all good. All right, 12:37. More of your comments from the text line, and then we'll have Josh Fenwick and Declan Krueger introduce themselves with their full names and then say things. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find
with Hurdle. Cuts now to the inside. Michael wrist shot on a blocker St. Thomas. First shot of the OT for base. Evans up ice with Cooley. Evans into the circle. Cut in front of backhand and scores. Jack Evans gets the Canadians the extra point with the overtime win. Alex Tuck got it outside the line. Toronto's onside as they touch that puck. Here's Dahlin with an empty net. Scores! Hat-trick goal for Rasmus Dahlin, the first of his career. And the Sabres go up 7-4 with 43.4 seconds to go in the third. The icing on the cake here for the Sabres and the captain in Toronto. Keane goes back here for Sider. Sider down low to break it. And score! Kaslik on to win the faceoff. He does. Here's McAvoy. Motors in. Cuts to the right circle. Kaslik goes to change. Now Hustadinov. Pasternak. McAvoy. Centers. Let's go. Go. Tim Dickinson, who was open at the side of the crease. Now a chance for Celebrini. The blocker saved by Kevin Lankin. Such quick hands. Smith, and they score. There's quick hands. As if on cue, Macklin Celebrini, minute 51 in. Sharks answer just 36 seconds later. It's
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Sacrilege to interrupt any song from Rumors, but there I go again. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Visit them at wolfgmcbuick.com. One of the things about timeless music, music that you listen to growing up, is that you get to watch new generations enjoy it for the wonderful music that it is. And so I happen to know Declan loves that album, The Chain, Never Going Back Again. Probably loves Go Your Own Way, too. That was a great album. I remember when it was released, and it just kept having number one hit after number one hit all year long. And it's it's sort of a soundtrack of your youth if you grew up in that era.
So many unreal songs
Yeah.
on that album. I think Never Going Back Again is my favorite. But I have to give a shout out to Gypsy.
Oh, great song.
Yeah, I had to jump in and do it.
Over My Head from the White Album is great. I love Go Your Own Way, that guitar solo. It sort of is, it goes, it stops, and then it goes through the chorus, and then it comes out of the chorus, and it's a screamer. I love it. Chris D says, I started watching the YouTube channel stream this week on my lunch break, and it's great to be able to put faces to names. Honestly, the only three I could distinguish between in my 15 years of listening to 1260, 1440 were Majot, Yaremchuk, and Awanik. Keep up the great work, guys, from Chris. Who is speaking, please? That's because Declan chimed in and didn't say his name that time. I'm reading now. Honest Ed here, I have no idea what's going on, but I can get behind anything. That's blow at high dough, right? There was a comment this morning about them talking about the Leafs for 30 seconds. Look, the Leafs are interesting to me, and I think they should be interesting to you. Because if they start selling, there's guys, they got guys. And those guys could be pretty interesting for the Edmonton Oilers. We had Rachel on the show Monday talking about Bobby McMahon being a really good winger for the Oilers to pick up. And I see that Bob Stauffer mentioned it as well on Tuesday. So maybe that's a guy the Edmonton Oilers acquire, which I'm fine with. Just don't sign him to an 8-year deal in the summertime. It's okay to go get a guy, but don't spend money on late 20s guys, because unless they're like a number 3 center, which they could really use, because that money eventually will be missed when you're trying to go out and get somebody to replace one of your top 6 forwards or your top 4 defensemen. In my article at The Athletic today, I also talked very plainly about the Oilers are going to have to be a little more like the Vegas Golden Knights. Remember when they offloaded Marc-Andre Fleury and the agent was all upset about it? Alan Walsh, I believe, sent out a iconic and memorable and quite, I think, effective tweet. And Vegas Golden Knights did it. They've done it since, where they offload players when they feel that player isn't going to help them win the Stanley Cup. And the Oilers tend not to do that. Ken Holland, gentleman Ken, he didn't do that. And then when those players came available in free agents, he signed them for LA. He's a good man. But, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup in a while. And the National Hockey League is even more focused on winning, and decisions are made with, I might as well just say, more cutthroat ideas in mind and goals in mind. And Vegas Golden Knights, Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, Minnesota Wild, they're all very good. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, you have to think about those things. You have to think about, maybe they can put Adam Henrique on LTIR, keep him there, and make a deal at the deadline. But the Vegas Golden Knights in 2024, they traded for a 27-year-old Noah Hanifin, and then they signed him long-term, and he'll be done at age 35. The Oilers traded for Matthias Ekholm when he was about 33, and then they re-signed him. And so what's happening is Vegas is getting more of the heart of a player's career, closer to peak than the Oilers are. And look, Ekholm is a brilliant player. I know that. But his new contract hasn't started yet, and he is older, and these things are important. The Darnell Nurse contract, the no movement clause, eases in the summer of 2027. If the Vegas Golden Knights didn't think that was an efficient contract, they would act. Will the Edmonton Oilers act? Because, not to make it a broken record, the Oilers they're not pulling into the last chance Texaco, but they can see the sign from where they are now. 3 years of Connor McDavid, and then who knows what's happening. Going to have to be some tough decisions made by this organization, in my opinion. Don't sign guys who are almost 30. Do not seek the treasure. Do you know the movie that's from? Bet you don't. Do we want Evander Kane back for the playoffs? No, I don't. I think we went over that yesterday. Do you know the movie that had Do Not Seek the Treasure in it? Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Great movie. My mom used to play, this is Jay, my mom used to play that album on Saturdays, Rumors. And that meant it was time to start the deep clean the house. So when I hear that song, my subconscious thinks it's time to clean the toilets. But yeah, great album. I think every generation does that, right? Like when I hear Go Your Own Way, I think of my dear friend Terry Cole and I riding our bikes around in Maidstone, Saskatchewan. He's delivering Star Phoenix, and I'm just there waiting to buy a cherry blossom or bubble gum at Milner's KV Bowl. And then we play pool. And that was my life. was a good life. I enjoyed it very much. But that song takes me instantly back there, as does Over My Head. The Oilers are desperately missing Corey Perry. You bet they are. But there are ways around. There's workarounds. What if they were to identify another Vasily Podkolzin out there, an organization that maybe drafted a guy in the first round a few years ago, and they've got another guy that they like more. The bloom is off the rose, and maybe that player is not held in high esteem by his current employer. Maybe you trade for that guy, and maybe that guy is a year away from getting another contract and several years away from getting a big contract. You know, the Oilers spend to the cap. God love Daryl Cates. He lets the GM spend to the cap. But just because you can doesn't mean you have to blow the lid off free agency every summer. I think we can agree the Milan Lucic contract was not good. I loved Milan Lucic as a player, but the contract wasn't good. It wasn't value, right? Jack Campbell contract wasn't value. Now, Zach Hyman was. But Zach Hyman was a guy you could absolutely put onto the top two lines and would be pretty sure that his contract would be valuable. You know, I think it was a 7-year deal. This is his 5th year. I mean, if not, God forbid anything happens, that's a contract that will live in infamy in this town because it's been such a value deal. So if you're going to spend big money, if you're going to spend 5 times 5 or 4 times 4, make damn good and sure the guy you're getting can play on the top 2 lines, 3rd line center, top 2 pairings, or as the starting goaltender. I think that's fair. And I think most of the acquisitions Bowman has made fit that criteria. You know, Connor Ingram, value contract, backup goalie, could be more, but it's a good bet. Christian Jarry, starting goaltender, right? Ty Emberson, that's a value contract. I think that Spencer Stastny's contract is a value deal. Picked up Regula. He doesn't look great, but he didn't cost you a lot. Sign Bouchard because you should sign Bouchard. You should sign Bouchard. You'd like him to be a little less chaotic, but he's brilliant at the top end. Ceiling floor. His ceiling is out of sight. 3rd best player on the team. Oh my God, really? Yeah. Brought in Podkolzin. Acquired Savoy. I like Roslovic, but do you honestly think that there won't be a player who misses out on the big money in free agency that the Oilers could go get on July 15th or maybe August 15th? Hell, they got Roslovic like, I think it was October 8th. Opening night, they signed him. Arizona Coyotes used to do this all the time. It can be done. If the Oilers don't attempt to reclaim Philp, I'll be upset about it. Could go straight to Bako, and he's a cheap call-up option for injuries. He's not going to be much more than he is, but he's a good piece to have in the system. I agree with that, except the way waivers work, as I understand it. I mean, the NHL changes their rules on the back of a cigarette package at lunchtime in Manhattan, so who knows? But the last time I checked the waiver rule, Philp goes through waivers now, and then if he clears waivers tomorrow, then the Oilers can reclaim him and send him down. I believe that's the case. They might have to reclaim him and then put him on waivers again, maybe. But if they put in a waiver claim on him today, he has to stay on the NHL team. Pretty sure that's true. Is Roslovic really a 3rd or 4th line guy? I think he's a 3rd line guy. I think he's a 3rd line right winger, though. And that is not a foundation piece. You also have Matt Savoy there. And he eventually, I think, will be the 2nd line winger. But right now you've got Hyman and Kapanen and then Savoy. And Savoy has the upside to move up the depth chart, which is what you want. That's why you made the trade. He's not expensive. He has room to grow. And look, I know he's small, but you can have one more small guy in the top 6, Nuge and Savoy. He's not there yet. That's fine. You've got him on a 3rd line with Roslovic. I'm fine with that. I'm even fine with re-signing Roslovic. But 4 years is a long time, and 33 is going to be an area where he may have fallen off the cliff by 31. And now you've signed for 2 good years and 2 not so good at $4 million. That's a lot. It's a lot of money. And he isn't Zach Hyman. LT, have you ever done any on-air work with Stauffer? I think an Oilers panel with you and Bob would be pure gold. Well, Bob and I worked at the same station for a time. At that time, I wasn't on the air. So I would talk to Bob a lot. Bob's a good guy. But I don't think we ever have worked on the air together. I think that Bob's show is probably conducive to the style that he has on his show. And my show is conducive to my style, which is I like to bring in, people off the street and ne'er-do-wells and then have them say things into microphones. That's sort of the show, For instance, today, the 2 gentlemen who are with me on the show have announced their names 63 times each.
Declan here. I agree with the texter. I think it'd be an awesome pairing. I also think, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, I think you probably agreed with this to an extent. I think it has maybe a lifespan of 20 minutes.
Oh, I don't know. I think Bob and I could get along.
All right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Bob, when I talk to Bob,
I
Bob
just
and I
meant
get along.
stylistically.
Oh, well, the only thing I would insist on is that I be the host.
Yeah, fair. Valid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this doesn't get started at all.
But Bob could do all of the talking, basically. Because Bob is very connected. He knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I love listening to Bob, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Big Edmonton Oilers guy.
I think Gregor and I would be a great show. I love doing July 1 with Gregor.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
That's the day I got hired.
I put in a good word for you.
I appreciate it.
No, I didn't. I said, who's that guy?
Yeah, I'd only been working with you for a month.
I don't remember names.
Yeah, Josh, I was going to say that is a drop in the bucket, my friend.
I'm aware.
For Tyler Yaremchuk's first 2 months that he was my producer, I had to ask Matt Owanek his name every day before the show.
That's a classic. Hey, do you remember the name of our last intern?
Sam.
Hey, I saw you do the talk.
Sam. It was Sam.
Yeah. Good job. Declan.
And then we had Liam
This was
Peace.
Josh, by the way.
We had Liam Peace. We had Brennan Clack.
Not here, you didn't. Gotta be honest.
I used to irritate Declan because I'd always mention Brennan Clack. He runs a thing called NHL Update, and he's always the quickest to get any NHL transactions. He's unbelievable.
He does an unbelievable job on Twitter.
He does.
Me and Brennan are in a fantasy hockey league right now.
Or are you up against each other?
I don't really pay attention to set my lineup, but I should get on that. Actually, it's been months since I've set my lineup.
So he's beating you like a rented mule.
Oh, everyone in that league's beating me like a rented mule. Brett Holden from Oilers Nation, he's in the league as well.
Wow,
it's bad for me.
Just when you thought this show couldn't get any nerdier, I'll be talking about fantasy baseball next hour. Okay, on the way, Kevin McCurdy will save the show and talk to us about keeping your powder dry, not signing 29-year-old free agents, and this Toronto winger that is building a little steam as far as Edmonton Oilers fans are concerned. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
The Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly. 780-265-0165. In case you missed it, 780-265-0165. Edmonton Oilers news, Matthias Ekholm is day-to-day. According to head coach Chris Knobloch, he is questionable for San Jose tomorrow. Around the sporting world, Todd Monken has been named the new Cleveland Browns head coach. He was formerly the Ravens OC. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is prepping to be moved from Milwaukee ahead of the February 5th trade deadline. He is the Bucks' all-time leader in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and games played. Scotty scores from earlier was Nova Scotia over BC 11-14. 10. Canada over Northwest Territories 13-2. Saskatchewan over Yukon 10-4. And Ontario over Quebec 8-5. Currently, it's Alberta, Skrillex rink up 1-0 on Manitoba, Peterson's rink. Nova Scotia up 3-1 on Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick up 5-2 on Nunavut, and Alberta, Sturmay's rink up 4-1 on Newfoundland and Labrador. In the NHL, only 3 games, the Rangers and Islanders at 5, Flyers and Blue Jackets at 5:30, and Avs Sens at the same time. In the NBA, the action will get going with LeBron James returning to Cleveland, 5 p.m. tip-off for that one. Toronto Raptors playing host to the New York Knicks at 5:30, and the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs in a Texas battle at 7:30. The line for that one, Houston -2.5. Edmonton Oil Kings are in action today in the WHL as they'll be in Calgary with a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one down at the Saddle Dome. And one result from the Australian Open men's singles quarterfinal today was Jannik Sinner in straight sets over 8 seed Ben Shelton. I'm Declan Krueger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports. It's Sports 1440.
From Lowetide to Kevin Carius and Jason Gregor, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
To Sports 1440.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube. keeping you moving through this.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown. Sports 1440 brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We're just ahead of Kevin McCurdy. This comes in from Ken. Lowetide, you definitely appeared on the radio with Stauffer back on Team 1260. I used to be a regular guest on his afternoon show. I distinctly remember he introduced you as the sales guy with a huge presence on the hockey internet boards. Honest to God, I don't remember that. I remember talking to Bob a lot. When I should have been selling, I was in the coffee room talking to Bob. Very likely why I'm in radio now, as opposed to being out there. And by the way, selling radio is a blast. It really is. Fantastic product. Reaches a wide audience very quickly and efficiently. I talk to the sales folks all the time, and I'm very jealous of their lives. They have a good life. They go out and visit people, talk to people, good people like Kevin McCurdy, as opposed to hanging around with this bunch and finding out the name of the backup guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. People are mad about the Maple Leafs. We're mentioning them too much. We barely said anything. Kevin McCurdy joins us now, and definitely going to save the show. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this week, Alan?
I'm good. Let's start here. Rumors of Jack Roslovic, just rumors, signing a 4-year deal. He's 29 soon. The Oilers, if you go back over the last decade or so since McDavid's draft, they have signed a lot of guys who are second, third line as opposed to first, second line forwards at that age. And when they fall off a cliff, they have a contract problem. But Roslovic is on his way to a 20-goal season. That's undeniable. What are your thoughts on signing Roslovic to a 4-year deal, say at $4 million?
I think we should wait until after the playoffs. The Oilers have gotten themselves into a history of signing players mid-season that they then come to regret the contracts of later on in the life cycle of that contract. Not the same player by any means, but we saw this with Zach Kassian. We saw it with Archibald. We saw it with Evander Kane. We've seen it with more of the power forward type, but the same lesson can still be learned here. I would like to see that Jack Roslovic can put up 2 points a game like he is in the regular season in the playoffs. And I'd like to see that game weather the likes of hard checking teams like Florida, for example. I think I think Jack is an excellent creative player. He's really smart with the puck. He does a lot of unique things that the Oilers definitely benefit from having. But he can be a little soft on the puck sometimes, and the defensive side of his game kind of sucks, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and that, the Oilers have that player type, so doubling down on it, maybe not as good an idea as going out and getting a player like as a pure rental. Bobby McMahon has been rumored, the player of interest. He's $1.35 million. He's the UFA at the end of the year. He might be a plug and play that you could bring in, and again, not necessarily sign him for next year. And if you do sign him, well below like 4 times 4. For me, I think that sometimes it can be a disadvantage where you're telling Ryan Smith you're 100,000 apart. That's not a good idea. Figure out a way. But in the case of a third or fourth line guy, that's a complementary piece, and it's wise not to spend certainly over $3 million on that player in today's NHL. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. And I just, the Oilers have had a history of getting themselves into too much term, too much value, and too many clauses. And I would caution them against making the same mistake again here. I'm not saying that they would be with Roslovic with certainty, but just some caution, right? And I know I posted about this last night. I got a bunch of feedback from people basically saying, well, the price goes up and he has an excellent playoffs. And that is true. But if the bottom falls out and he doesn't have an excellent playoffs, you're left with 4 years of $4 million of a player that may or may not live up to, even 2/3 of that contract value. We've been here before, and that's the point of caution I'm trying to raise.
Yeah, for me, it's like, when you look at this roster, the number of players who are not necessarily acquired to play third line or fourth line, but are there, include Mangiapane, Adam Henrique, who's on the injured list, Trent Frederick, and that's, most of $10 million. And cap room is so tight for this Edmonton Oilers team. I'd be willing to go through the deadline and through the summer offloading those new movement clauses, letting them burn off those that are done, and kind of resetting the roster, because I think that might be the play here. Not that there wouldn't be attractive players that they could acquire like McMahon as a rental, but that doesn't impact next year. But I would not do anything to compromise next year's cap situation at the deadline.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, this team has had some struggles. They've had a number of, they've managed to string together some decent results recently, but I would hesitate to say that this is the same team that we had last year, or especially the year before. I'm good with whatever this year turns into. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. We can't expect that year after year after year. It's a crapshoot if you make it through the playoffs one way or the other. And I don't want to light the entire cap situation on fire in order to try and save something. Make some smart moves, get some smart pieces. If you can get McMahon out of Toronto because they're about to be sellers, or they are sellers, that's great. But don't mortgage the future. Let's get some of these poor past decisions off the books, just like you said.
Well, and they've shown, Stan Bowman has shown an ability to go out and get players of quality at the less expensive end. Vasily Podkolzin would be a prime example, but Kasperi Kapanen was a waiver wire pickup. Ty Emerson didn't cost a whole heck of a lot and is under control. I would much rather see them go into the deadline if they really do feel like they need a skill guy, then maybe, there are players in the National Hockey League who were high picks but have been disappointing. Glenn Sather used to do this all the time, try to grab a player. It didn't always work out, but if you need skill, try to grab a player who's in a disappointment in his NHL city, and then have him pay off in your town. And that's happened a few times. And I think Podkolzin is kind of the poster boy for that.
Yeah, and I think that, Bowman's done some incredible work to shore up the minor leagues and the up and comings and the what have you. But there's been some really throwing a dart at the wall, blindfolded decision making with the stuff that's happened up with the Oilers themselves. Mangiapane's a good example. I think there was a prudent move to sign Roslovic to 1 year, but Roslovic for 1 year is a whole lot different equation than Roslovic for 4 more years. He's the kind of guy, in my opinion, that you keep hungry, and hungry guys are going to deliver better results. Kapanen's another example of a player like that. You make him fight for that next contract, and he will do that game in and game out. He's proven it over and over and over again. I just think that there's some, being a little bit disciplined here is going to save us a lot of headache down the road. And I really think, to your point before, that saving that cap situation is really important for this team.
It also, I broached the subject in an article today at The Athletic. We're also at a point now, I think, where we're, into the McDavid 3-year deal. And the Vegas Golden Knights, I think, have sort of broken through as an NHL organization and done things that the teams didn't used to, which is, sign a player in good faith to a long-term deal, decide midway through that player isn't helping them, and then do everything possible to get that player off the roster, including making a life uncomfortable. I don't know that the Oilers organization has the stomach for that, but if they're trying to win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years, that should be an option, right?
You would think. Now, I see this comparison a lot online. I do like hiring players for Vegas and hiring players for Edmonton are two different equations. It's not the same lineup of players. You're not getting a revolving door of dudes that are willing to line up and sign long-term deals with no movement clauses and all that. The Oilers have to sweeten the pot on everything. They're at a tax disadvantage to Vegas. They're at a location disadvantage to Vegas. There's a number of reasons why players would prefer to play in Vegas over places like Edmonton. This is a high temperature environment, both from a media and fan base point of view. There are reasons why we have trouble as a team finding more talent. And we have some benefits, right? We have a brand new world-class facility, a relatively brand new world-class facility. We have Connor McDavid. We have Leon Draisaitl. We have Evan Bouchard. We have, good decision-making going into analytics and all of these other areas. But Vegas is always going to have an advantage in these areas over us. And treating our roster like Vegas treats theirs is not going to be a winning strategy here, I don't think. That being said, they can do more without going so far as to give guys the Barclay Goodrow treatment, if you know what I mean.
Yep, you bet. All right. Thanks for this. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too. Have a good week, everyone.
There you go. Kevin McCurdy. We appreciate his time. Very well spoken and some very good points, as always, made by him. We appreciate him. He's every Wednesday, 1 o'clock on the Lowdown. Roadhammer says, maybe you weren't actually a guest on Bob's show. When he was on 12-6, maybe you just grabbed a cup of coffee when he went to the studio. He was doing the show. What I remember is I remember a draft show that Bob did with Guy Flaming at Shanks. Shanks was my client. I was in sales. And I remember that night very well because it was 2007 and the Oilers had 3 first-round picks. And I stayed for a time and then I went home. And Bob was talking about, who they were going to take with the first-round pick. It ended up being Sam Gagner. I think it was Voracek, who was also in the running, but Bob felt, and he was right, they'd want a center. And then Guy Flaming told me before I left that the Oilers were heavily in on Alex Plant, who would have been a reach, and he was when they picked him. And what I remember most about that was that Bob was all over the Calgary pick, Backlund. And when they did pass on him twice and then picked up Alex Plant and Riley Nash, Bob lit into the Oilers organization. It was kind of funny to listen to, and I wrote about it in my book, which is on the clock, which is available in fine bookstores now. But I do remember that, but I wasn't part of the broadcast. I was making sure that everybody had their coffee or Pepsi or Coca-Cola or whatever it may be at Shanks, which was a great place, by the way. Miss it very much. All right, 117 on the way. More of your comments about the Edmonton Oilers, about Hoodie not getting into the Hall of Fame. I'm so here for that. And the Toronto Maple Leafs struggling. People love to talk about it. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Lowetide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. 120. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Love that song. Earworm, Hooks Galore, big time hit single many, many years ago. LT, this is Zach texting in, just wondering if you ever considered writing a book not necessarily sports related. I know I'm always the dude in his feelings, but genuinely appreciate your takes on life and perspective you bring. Just a thought. I'll grab on the clock, though. Had no idea you'd written a book. Oh. I didn't talk about it enough. I don't know. I think the blog is sort of an ongoing conversation. So the book, if I was going to write about stuff that's not sports related, I do it in the blog. So it probably would be an accumulation or a collection of the items that I've written about my life there. Some parts of my life are just really still very painful. So I probably wouldn't do it anytime soon. But I mean, it's a thought. But I do have slice of life stuff at the blog, and that's sort of where I convene. My brain just goes there sometimes, and I start writing. Please, for the love of everything, Josh and Declan, stop.
Josh here. Just want to say thank you to everybody. You've got me to 100 followers on Twitter now.
There you go.
So I'll make sure I don't forget any of you now that I'm big time.
So we did that in lickety split, really, 25 and
Yeah,
not
and
long.
also shout out to all you guys who also went to go and follow Mac. So you know what? Honestly, keep it up. Get her to 100. She's mucho smarto.
Okay, what's her
Oh God.
I know it's Micmac or some damn.
Yeah, it's Mac McLennan. It's a tough spell, I tell you what.
Is it McLennan?
Yeah, McMcLennan. But at my heart, I'm a competitor, and I just wanted to win.
Sure, I get that. I understand.
But please go follow Mac again. Mucho smart.
Now that I've won, please follow.
Well, I
please
told
follow the
everyone to
new
go
person.
follow her also when we were in competition.
No, you did. You were very classy
Yes.
about it. Big Durr says, "Whatever happened to the great Kate?" I don't know that if she's working in media at this point, but I know she wants to. Very talented individual, and I very much enjoyed talking to her on the radio. She's a big Detroit Red Wings fan, played defense on her rec team, and was a pretty delightful person, I think. I enjoyed talking to her very much. I've seen her a couple of times afterwards, just in the flow of life kind of thing, and she's doing well and enjoying her life as one would hope. The Oilers are second in the league in goals for, so I'm okay with the offense. I know everyone would like to see more skill in the bottom six. I think they should pursue that, but I would go for a right-handed defenseman first. I'd claim Philp and demote Janmark. Yeah, Janmark's not being very effective. There's no doubt about that. And whenever a veteran is not effective, you always worry about, injury, right? But Janmark isn't himself. And he's not a young player anymore, and that does happen. Big players wear down. He plays a very specific role. The penalty kill, if it looks bad, then the veterans on it look bad. Just the name of the game. As far as the bottom six is concerned, I do think it's a real concern. Like if you look at for the entire year here at 5-on-5, when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice together, this team is at 53%. They're 55% when McDavid is solo and 57% when Draisaitl is solo. And then they're at 35% when both men are off the ice. But there is a silver lining, and it's come since January 1st. I'm just looking it up now. Lowetide doing math on the radio. Such a good idea. Okay, here we go. This is since the last 10 games. So McDavid and Draisaitl are 2-0 together. McDavid without Draisaitl is at 65%, 47% for Leon, but that's 8 goals for and 9 against. And then it's 10 goals for and 12 against with the third and fourth lines. So it is improving. And part of that is Savoy. Savoy has come along, but I'll give credit to Roslovic and Lazar. They're playing better and they're getting stuff done. And I did like Szymanski. I hope we see him again. When do they play again? Thursday night? Tomorrow night?
Who?
Oilers.
Oh, tomorrow night against the San Jose Sharks.
So that'll be an interesting game.
Oh, that's going to be a barn burner.
Write a book about all the former interns.
Wouldn't remember enough of them.
Probably, but if somebody gave me a list, I could tell you. So ask me anything about one of the interns and I'll tell you.
All right, Sam.
Sam had a $4,000 bike, pedal bike, that also had an engine on it. And he was the only guy I've ever met who was out of the building quicker than me if he needed to be. But I was just always impressed that he, how old was he?
20.
And he had a bike that cost more than my first 3 cars put together.
That's very fair. I mean, it cost more than my car, so. But he was very clear to say that he didn't spend $4,000 on it. He got it used.
So it's $3,000.
It possibly, well, I mean, what if it depreciates 10% once it comes off the old bike rack? Then it was $3,600 at least. However, used, maybe it fell down to the old $2,500 range.
He was a unique individual.
That he was.
Yes.
We were just talking about how he refused to take his toque off because Mac went to the school thing yesterday.
The school thing.
Where
You're
Connor
sounding like me.
Where Connor McDavid was. I'm just going to go find the video. Sports 1440 AM on Instagram, by the way. Allendale School.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so, because they raised a bunch of money for the Ben Stelter Foundation. And so he went over there and she went and got some videos and stuff. Sam went out for autograph day here at West Edmonton Mall. Full suit. He had his toque on, and then he put his Sports 1440 hat over his toque. And it's because he wouldn't take the toque off because it was part of his brand that he was building here at Sports 1440. So that was a goofy look, but hey, you know what?
I liked him because he was an original. And if you are different in the world, don't ever let anybody take that away from you. I know Josh hasn't. But it's important that you don't have to stand out just to stand out. But if you are unique, I'm unique because of the way I grew up, I think. When people meet me and they find out my peculiarities, and I have many of them, I always refer to them to a movie called Blast from the Past, which was a
great movie.
Yeah, fantastic movie. It's about a guy who grew up like in a bomb shelter, and he was completely unaware of the world around him and how it worked. And I grew up in a particular faith where you were extremely isolated. So when I got out, I didn't know how to drink or any of those things. So I to this day, there are major gaps in my knowledge, being courteous, those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I think if you're unique, you stay being unique. It'll get you a long way. How about a blog doing all things Big Lebowski? Man, that would be a real trip. What a great movie. You watched a lot of movies, right?
Yeah.
Is there ever a movie you just wanted to walk into and be a part of?
Oh, yeah, totally. Listen, if I could have been one of the scouts in Moneyball, that would have been awesome.
Yes.
However, that was real life, and I was not born yet, so it'd be a tough one to do.
Sure.
There are a lot of movies that fit that bill.
Okay, well, give me
Lord of the Rings. I'd love to be in Lord of the Rings.
Star
Wars too. Same with like Harry Potter. So like those three.
Yeah, but what if you're Princess Leia's brother? That's not good.
Would that just mean I'm a Jedi?
That'd be cool as hell. Yeah.
I still think about a lightsaber like once every 3 days.
Oh yeah. No. That's like
having a lightsaber.
That'd be so cool.
Me?
That'd be so cool. Same with having a sword.
No, swords like
I'd love to have a sword.
But a lightsaber, bro, like come on. What's better than that?
Could this show get any more nerdy? Like, in all seriousness.
I'm sure it could.
I would like to be, not in the movie, but at the end of the movie, when Andy Dufresne is fixing the boat in
Zihuatanejo.
Yeah.
You'd just like to be at the end of like helping him fix the boat at the end of the Shawshank
Redemption. I want to be
Redemption.
walking there with Red. I don't want to be in danger. I'm not a danger boy.
Well, Andy Dufresne was under the protection of the guards and everything. He was never really in danger after his third year at the prison.
You forget what happened in the laundry room, sir?
Shower.
I said after his first 3 years.
Oh, well, I don't want to.
And the film room. Can't forget about the film room.
I don't want the first
either.
3 years to.
Jeez.
Along that vein, there are some movies I would have like in Green Mile.
Oh man,
I would have let him go.
Oh, I would
You know
have
what I
too.
mean?
I
would have freed him.
That movie hurt my heart.
But that's why it's sad, right?
By the way, just as an aside, because we're not already too far down the rabbit hole. Like Tom Hanks, man, you want to talk about someone who's just been in good movie.
True. He was the actorial yesterday.
Was.
I like the one. What's the one with the basketball, beach ball thing?
Oh, Castaway.
Castaway. That's a volleyball.
And what's the airport one?
The Terminal.
Oh yeah, the Terminal.
Like
Based
those
on a
are
true story.
Bizarre, weird, wonderful movies. I love them.
I remember my dad was watching. I think it was my dad watching Castaway on like AMC, like one Saturday or Sunday morning, and I came in while it was on, and I saw the Wilson scene, and that was the only scene I had seen from the movie, and it just like tore my heart apart. It was his best friend, bro.
Well, the end of that movie is just heart-wrenching. Like you knock on the door, right? Damn. Tom Hanks has been some great movies.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, so many.
Now, what horror movie did you think you could live through?
Did you ever see Joe versus the Volcano?
No.
Really?
Never.
Oh, you got to watch that movie.
I'll think about it. I'll consider it.
Kids today.
I also wanted to be just one last one. Stand By Me, because it's my favorite movie ever, and like watching it at that age, I wanted those to be my friends in that time period.
I get that. That's a sad movie. That
makes me cry every time. The last time I watched it was, I think, the first time I ever watched it without crying.
When he says, when he reveals that he knows that his father loved his brother who perished more, that scene like as a child or as a parent, it is just too much. It was so well done.
Very similar to that. When Chris is also, he's crying his eyes out to Gordy about how like no one in the world, when no one in the world respects him. Like the teacher, he tried to give the milk money back, and the teacher kept it because they knew he was just a no good kid.
Yeah,
another heartbreaking one.
Yeah, that was Rob Reiner, man.
One of the goats.
That was that. I'm still having a hard time dealing with that because he was so great and he did so many wonderful things, and for him to have that happen was just too much, really. Well, isn't this a really good spot to be on the show? Good job, guys.
Hey, we can switch this into which sports movie would you want to be in?
Oh,
that's a great one.
The Natural, I loved. I'd love to be in The Natural.
Isn't that when Costner's like really, really old in A Picture for the Tigers? Or which one am I thinking of?
Robert Redford is in The Natural.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's my bad.
That's okay.
Thinking of The Rookie?
No, not the Rookie.
I know the movie he's talking about, but I can't remember.
Ah, well, whatever.
I would say Moneyball for sure. A sad baseball movie is called Bang the Drum Slowly. My God, it's sad.
Field of Dreams.
If you build it,
love
they
to
will
be in
come.
Field of Dreams.
My dad was very ill when I went to see that movie in the theater, and I cried like a baby because he gave me baseball. He taught me all about baseball.
Fair enough.
All right. None of you guys have seen Paddington 2.
I have seen Paddington 2. You know why? Because that Citizen Kane essentially on par with each other.
Heard good things.
Per Rotten Tomatoes, which is just funny.
Citizen Kane isn't a great movie.
Citizen Kane's a fantastic movie. Rosebud.
Too long.
And?
The other movies are too long too.
No.
I love I'm not Sound of Music. Sound of Music is brilliant. There's nothing wrong with Sound of Music, but I love long movies. But I can admit that they're too long, and that one was too long.
Yeah. I honestly, if a movie's good, I'd never really notice how long it is.
Okay. Bull Durham is the Kevin.
No, I know that's his baseball one. I'm going to find it right now.
The Kevin Costner monologue in what he believes in that movie is so damn good.
Ooh, can I also say I want to be in the other Kevin Costner, Tin Cup, obviously. I would love to be in Tin Cup. If I could be at the US Open when he in the final round and he just keeps dropping them. You just give me another ball.
No. My Fair Lady's too long, but it's wonderful. They should get everything about the dad out of there and it would be brilliant. Okay, 1:36 on the way. What's coming up on Declinations? I never asked you all day.
No.
What a jack-o'-lantern I am.
Wednesday, so it's Duncan with Declan. Much to discuss.
All right.
The other one I was thinking of is For the Love of the Game. That's Kevin Costner. He's pitching for the Tigers.
And he has a love interest, right?
Yeah, and he throws like a perfect game at the end or something. I forget.
Yeah, because they're easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Declinations next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Final segment of the day. I've enjoyed today. Everything's gone well. The boys said their name 360 times. I'm assuming there's 5 more coming in this segment, which is Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca, article, podcast, and more, breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth Double E football coverage online, elksnation.ca. Ladies and gentlemen, Declan R. Krueger.
Close.
It's K, right?
No.
J.
What did you just say, Josh?
D. Krueger?
That's one of them. There's 2.
Because you've got a confirmation name.
Hold on for a second.
I and D.
No. What did you think the R stood for?
Ralph.
Okay. It's DMD. Okay.
Michael Daniel.
Michael Donald.
Okay.
Yeah. Close, though.
Well, I knew confirmation had to be Michael.
Yes. Well, it's both just grandfathers' names.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very good. Daniel is a strong name, and Michael is as well.
Donald,
that's my son's name.
Yeah.
No, from now on, you're Daniel. You can say it's Donald, but
no,
I know in my heart it's Michael Daniel.
No, Donald after my grandfather, the judge.
There you go.
Anyway,
Daniel.
No, we can't be taking shots at someone's name. That's a bridge too far.
Lots of NBA activity.
So the biggest one, the biggest one right now is the Giannis Antetokounmpo kind of sweepstakes, if you want to call it that. Giannis Antetokounmpo prepping to be moved either in the offseason or ahead of the February 5th trade deadline. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, I feel like this has kind of been a running discourse. This has been a big topic of discussion. He is a guy who can go into any team and make them better because Giannis Antetokounmpo brings a couple of things that sometimes other superstars don't bring. One of them is that Giannis Antetokounmpo does not have to be ball dominant, which is, I don't want to call it rare for a superstar, but it's definitely the rarest it's ever been in this day and age. Generally, when you have a superstar in the game, and when you look at the superstars we have here, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, LeBron in his prime, those guys are all ball dominant. They need the ball in their hands, and they need to be the one having it for the majority of offensive possessions. Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't have that. Now, he can be ball dominant, and he's filled out a more ball dominant role with the Milwaukee Bucks out of necessity, but he's really playing his best when he isn't ball dominant, and he plays very well within an offense, and he's a very willing passer, far more of a willing passer than he gets credit for. The other thing that he brings that every team, can look for and need is he is an elite defender. He's won Defensive Player of the Year before. Now, he's not quite the same defender as those levels. Granted, it was, a good few years ago now, but he still brings defense at a high level. Sometimes, for example, Luka Doncic, if you trade for Luka Doncic, that's awesome. But Luka Doncic is going to have the ball for 18 seconds of every shot clock. You know what I mean? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in OKC. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is incredible. He is going to have the ball. Now, he might not have the ball for 18 seconds of every shot clock, but he is going to have the ball in the moments it matters within the shot clock. Giannis doesn't quite have that, and that's why he can be such a seamless acquisition for so many teams. And the reality is, any team would put together a package for him, but not every team is in the sweepstakes because not every team is in a position where they can go out and win a title this year. That list gets more finite, and that's why you kind of look at where would be ideal landing situations for him. And even if it's not in contention to win a championship this year, it's where can they build something with a reasonable timeline for Giannis's age. That's why Miami is not going to win a title this year, but I think they semi-fit the timeline, and moreover, I think he fits the culture there. San Antonio is a spot that I think would be just such an ideal fit for him. Could you imagine him and Wemby playing playing the 4 and the 5, De'Aaron Fox guard them. Like teams would score 70 points. OKC is another team that would fit very well, as much as I hate to say it.
If San Antonio got him and they played the Thunder, what kind of game, what kind of series might that be?
Well, it's funny. San Antonio, I believe, is 3-1 this year against the Thunder. Lost the most recent time out. That would be a game. Like, one thing I gave the Thunder a lot of credit for earlier this year was that they could beat you in any way. And I still feel that way about the Thunder, just to a lesser extent now, because I think they've exposed themselves in certain type of matchups. And I do think San Antonio would be a really tough matchup in that sense, because like OKC's thing against a lot of teams is like, if everything's equal, SGA is going to go and get you 30. That's just who he is. Like, he's going to go and he's going to get you buckets when you need it. And other teams may not always have that because of the way OKC is able to key on you defensively. But San Antonio, along a similar vein, they have a guy who can go out and get you buckets as an unstoppable type of force in Victor Wembanyama. Giannis Antetokounmpo would only add to that. So that series I think it'd be a great series. I want to hear what Josh has to say about Giannis, and I also want to hear what he has to say about a potential OKC San Antonio series. So with that, I want to chess pass it over to him.
Yeah, Josh here.
Good shout, Josh.
365.
Yeah, no, obviously Giannis, probably the best player, one of the top 3 players of the last 7 years, essentially. He's going to command a lot, and I've been looking at the old ESPN trade machine, just sort of putting some things together all morning.
Thing.
I've been looking at this all day, and I've been trying to make like salaries work and everything. And you can't trade picks on here, unfortunately, but it's just sort of the way it goes. Most of the time it says the trade works out. Like, how interesting. But yeah, you can't trade picks on here, and Giannis is going to go for, depending on the haul you get, probably at least 3 picks minimum, first rounders.
Yeah.
Things coming out from a couple other places. The Toronto Raptors have said that both Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are untouchable in Giannis trade talks per Grant.
They say that now.
Per Grant Afseth.
Brandon Ingram being untouchable in a trade package when Giannis is involved is hilarious.
Is crazy.
Is hilarious.
I see where they're coming from. He
is that role for them. Like, that role.
Yeah. He is the guy that like makes the shots at the end of the game. And so obviously whatever, Scotty Barnes being untouchable makes a lot of sense to me. I personally think RJ Barrett is more untouchable than Brandon Ingram, because
it's so funny. Like, neither of them are like,
I know
for Giannis,
but like both of them aren't there. They shouldn't be untouchable. Only Scotty should be, but that's just the way it is. So I think, obviously, like, my fandom a little bit, I want to see him as a Raptor, but I still think end comes to the end, really like 2-dog race for me between the Spurs and the Thunder.
I want to get to this text from Husks. He said Dak would love to see Giannis with Chef Curry. That was one of the ones that had been floated out there. A Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler package for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I do think Giannis, like, obviously that pairing, I just imagine them running like a pick and roll, them running a pick and pop. Like, I think that's an elite offensive combination. I think Giannis also, I wouldn't say Golden State has an defensive identity at all, but they have a real key player who's, has a significant defensive identity in Draymond Green, and it would be interesting to see Giannis, paired with him in that sense. I just don't think, like, I think this is the thing about Golden State. Like, I think you would probably, I don't know what the rest of the package looks like with Kuminga and Butler, but you have to think it's depleting a fair portion of the roster, and I'm just not sure if those 2 are enough. If they may be, but probably not with the rest of, like, look at OKC, probably not with them in the West.
Yeah, with if both Kuminga and Butler have to go, the Bucks actually have to find a way to match salaries, because Butler and Giannis are making the same amount of money this year. And you're not sending Miles Turner, so like Kyle Kuzma goes in there. Him and Kuminga have pretty comparable contracts, but also, like, the Golden State dynasty is over. It's about as close to over as it's going to get. And if you make this trade for Giannis to get one more ring, let's say,
it'd be worth it.
But you give up 2 first-round picks at that go, and I don't even know what their pick situation looks like. And then it's like, yep, all right, Giannis gets a little older, and obviously, like, he's good enough, but the team is old or not very good. And now you're just sort of in that purgatory spot where you want to be competitive because you have Giannis, but you're so held by the cap just because you have Steph, who's on a max deal, and Draymond Green, who's set to get money for the next 2 years, and then a couple of other guys that just aren't respectfully very good. I like Moses Moody's game, but like not enough. And yeah, so the Golden State, it's fun in an idea, but I don't think it works. However, I've been wrong before. This could be the first 31 team trade in NBA history.
A little 31 teamer. The other thing is, like, I to Josh's point, like, if you go all in your Golden State and you get a 5th ring with Chef Curry, like, it's so worth it. Because here's the thing, looking back, LeBron James is going to be regarded as the best player of this era because he's one of the best players of all time. But looking back, like, you're going to be, as a Golden State fan, be able to say, okay, that was the best player of the era. Guess what? Steph Curry had more rings than he did and beat him in the finals 3 times compared to him only beating him once. Like, you're going to have that. That buys you being bad for 15 or 20 years. And that is worth it.
I get it.
Yeah.
So the NBA, once again, is the most entertaining league because when's the deadline? February 3rd?
5th.
So you've got all the games that you're playing, and that causes, because there's always some brilliant play. Somebody does something amazing in the NBA every night. Plus you've got this, which is like, what would be the NHL equivalent of Giannis being dealt?
Nathan McKinnon?
Austin Matthews?
No, respectfully, I think that's a bad one because Giannis has won a championship and he did it. All respect to Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, not the supporting cast we've seen in other years.
Yeah.
Like, Giannis, man, there are 2 players in NBA history who have won a championship, a finals MVP, multiple league MVPs, and a defensive player of the year. One of them is Michael Jordan. The other one is Giannis Antetokounmpo by the age of 27. Like, he's a rare breed.
Matthews more likely to be traded, but if Colorado were to trade Nathan McKinnon,
just like the NHL comparable player to it. If he was traded, it's like, probably Nathan McKinnon goes.
Now, are we finished? Because I've got something I'd like to ask.
Yes, we're finished.
Yeah.
In about an hour ago, in the Big Texan Steak Ranch in Amarillo, Texas, somebody ordered a 72-ounce steak lunch for a challenge. If you eat it, you don't have to pay for it. 72 ounces, boys.
The old 96er, but it's smaller.
Could you do it?
I don't know, man. I don't think I could. There was a time I thought I could be a competitive eater, but I don't think I have it.
72 ounces is a lot of steak. Like,
I mean, no matter how good it is, by 25 ounces, you're
probably by ounce 40. I'm feeling it. And like, that's when the meat sweats creep in. And like, yeah, that'd be a tough beat all the way around. I don't think I could, but I'd give it a good, honest try.
Well, you're the young one. You should be doing it, not the rest of us. You know, I mean, Declan's young.
It's only Jack Roslovic's number.
Well, I mean, that's the word on the street. I mean, we don't have confirmation about it. All right. I feel like I should say my name, Alan Mitchell, just to get it out there after the deluge, the flood of Declan Kruegers and Josh Fenwick's we've heard today. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Jason Krueger, also a name, on the way after this with the Jason Krueger Show. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors done right, homes and businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street. Open 6 days a week, Saturday hours 10 to 2. And you can also visit customfloorsinc.ca. Bring your next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers news, Matthias Ekholm day-to-day. According to head coach Chris Knobloch, he is questionable for San Jose tomorrow. Todd Monken has been named the new Cleveland Browns head coach, formerly the Ravens OC. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, as we just talked about, prepping to be moved from Milwaukee ahead of the deadline. Scotty's Tournament of Hearts scores. Right now, it's Alberta Skrillex ranked trailing Manitoba. Peterson's ranked 4-2. Nova Scotia up on PEI 4-2. New Brunswick up big on Nunavut 9-3. And Alberta Sturmay's rank up 7-4 on Newfoundland and Labrador. 3 games in the NHL at 5. It gets going with the Rangers and the Islanders. Flyers and Jackets at 5:30, and Avs and Sens at the same time. NBA action, Toronto Raptors playing host to the New York Knicks at 5:30. Action gets going with the Los Angeles Lakers and Cleveland Cavaliers at 5. Spurs and Rockets, in the Battle of Texas at 7:30. And in the WHL, Edmonton Oil Kings in Calgary. Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great.